There we go. All right. I think we're live now. So welcome everyone to the Recognition page. If you're new to my page, I am Nancy Halligan and I teach musicians and music venues how to promote and sell their music and shows online. So today we're talking to Gordon Firemark from the Entertainment Law Update podcast. And I'm really excited about this one because this has been making the rounds for at least the last week, and everybody is calling these updates new, and there's really nothing new. So if you're doing some of these things, you might be doing them wrong, and you're risking your page doing them. All right. So the one thing I'm going to talk about first is the one line that is actually changing on October 1st, and that is, we also can remove or restrict access to your content, services, or information if we determine that doing so is reasonably necessary to avoid or mitigate adverse legal or regulatory impacts to Facebook. I'm kind of reading that as anything they can get sued over, they might just rip it off the site.
We get to cover our ass.
That's pretty much where I was thinking that was going.
Right. So what it used to say, Nancy, is we can remove or restrict access to content that's in violation of these provisions, referring to the overall terms of service. And if we do it because of things that are in violation of our community standards, we'll tell you why and give you options and those kinds of things. So really, they're just clarifying that, you know, look, you already weren't allowed to post stuff that's illegal or misleading, unlawful, misleading, discriminatory, or fraudulent. And infringing copyright material is unlawful. So it really doesn't change the meaning of the terms of service. It clarifies that, hey, if you do it, we're going to take it down. Yep. That's what it's saying.
And they've been doing that all along. So this should really not be a surprise.
Right. What's interesting is they've had the right to do it all along.
Right.
They haven't actually been doing it. And that's where this is like becoming a startling thing, because they announced that October 1st, there's some new rules going into effect. And, you know, they've made a few other little tweaks here and there, but this is the only one that affects this stuff.
Correct.
But yeah, the bottom line is don't infringe copyrights. Don't use other people's stuff without the right permissions.
And then this kind of leads into the whole conversation, though, with some people are kind of lenient with everything and some people are not.
Right.
In my research and looking at what people were saying about this, I found an article about Don Henley, who employs 60 people to troll the internet looking for Eagle stuff that he can rip down.
I truly hope those 60 people have more to do than just that as their job.
I hope so too. But then again, Disney employs people for the same purpose on Etsy. So yeah, that was, I had no idea about that. So I was like shocked to read that. But then I hear people say like something like Fleetwood Mac, I guess people have been posting their stuff in covers forever and they don't hear a peep. So,
you know, it's interesting. That's on the music publishing side of it. And, you know, the businesses that own the copyrights, they have a right to act the way owners act. You know, some people say, get off my lawn. And some people say, hey, come, let's have a party.
Right. Exactly. All right. So getting into the guidelines themselves, there's really like 4 sections, I guess.
Yep.
So the first one is, I feel pretty cut and dry. You are responsible for the content that you post. And that should just be kind of common sense, but we know that's kind of gone out the window these days. So
personal responsibility isn't something that is popular these days. So.
Correct.
Yeah, you know, and that's always been the case. Again, this is not a change. It's a clarification. And when it specifically comes to music, now they're coming out and saying it in so many words. Hey, if you're using music, you're going to be responsible. It's not our fault if there's an issue. And, you know, you've got to take care of making sure you're doing things right. Sounds very reasonable to me.
Right. Exactly. I just never... Personally, I mean, I've posted some full shows that are cover stuff on YouTube, and nothing's ever been flagged on there. But now, the more I really look into this and read about it, I see like we could be putting our channel in trouble with that. So I have to go back and really look at everything.
I think one thing that's going on here is that Facebook is now, because they're seeing the potential for running live events, and frankly, the need to because of COVID and all that,
right.
And they're making it a product that they are monetizing. They're going to allow you to charge for attending an event online on their platform. Now they've got a slightly different position with respect to the music industry than they had before, when it was just people sharing their stuff, because now they're monetizing it, specifically the event. And so I think they did feel the need to be a little more explicit about what's allowed and what's not. So it gives them, again, the right to take that stuff down. It's this next one on the list that's really challenging. Why don't you read it and then we'll talk about it.
So the second section is, you may not use videos on our products to create a music listening experience.
So let's assume for a minute that anything you're going to do using a Facebook tool, Facebook Live, Facebook Video, Facebook Live events, all of these things is a product, a Facebook product. So what's a music listening experience? I think what they're doing, and again, it's not entirely clear, that from their explanation, is we want you to be able to enjoy music, videos posted by family and friends. But if you use videos to create a music listening experience for yourself or for others, your videos will be blocked from your page, profile, or group, may be deleted, and this includes live. And so, over the last 6 months, we've seen an awful lot of artists getting on and doing a Facebook Live, and it's the Friday evening concert. I have one friend he's a wonderful singer, and he's doing cocktails at 5:30 in his lounge, which is his front yard.
That's awesome.
It's fantastic. It's fun, but he's singing standards. And those are copyrighted works. Well, the moment he starts, the law doesn't distinguish between doing it for free and whether you're charging for it. But when Facebook starts monetizing it with these paid live events, that's going to get the attention of the owners and say, hey, wait a minute, where's our slice of that pie?
Yeah.
So they're saying you can't do it. You're not to use our videos on our products to create a music listening experience. So it's one thing to post a video of your kid's piano recital. It's another entirely to get up there and put on a 35-minute or 45-minute set in front of whoever wants, whether it's live or paid or not. And so I haven't seen that they're cracking down on it yet, because I saw 2 or 3 people doing it yesterday, but I dare say that's coming. It's on the horizon.
And I was wondering too if this kind of is being paid more attention now too, because since the shutdowns happened, everybody's posting their PayPal and Venmo links, which technically was never allowed. That was never allowed before, and that would get you yanked faster than anything. But they seem to be letting go of that stronghold in the beginning of it for sure, because people were posting them everywhere and nothing got taken down.
I think part of it was hard to police, and they had bigger fish to fry. And frankly, coming down hard on people at that point would have just added insult to injury.
Right.
So,
pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah. And it didn't have the attention of the music industry side, who are the ones who are saying, hey, Zuck, you got to start taking care of this stuff or we're going to have to sue you.
Right. All right. So the third part here is the unauthorized content may be removed. So this is where we get into the music owned by someone else.
Mm-hmm. Again, not new. This law has been around. The law that makes this required has been around since 2001. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act basically says, look, if Facebook wants to avoid liability for these kinds of lawsuits, they've got to have a policy in place that says, we get a complaint, we take it down, you can get it put back up if you want, and then you and the owner can duke it out. And Facebook is in the safe harbor. So this is not new, but again, it's alarming.
They usually do allow you an appeal process.
The law specifically requires that if they take it down, they also have to give the party who posted it a notice and an opportunity to say, wait a minute, that's legal because,
and
there are defenses and exceptions that apply. Fair use is one of the ones that everybody hears about. I don't see how running a concert or even posting a full song music video, a single song, would necessarily satisfy fair use unless there's also a lot of criticism and commentary or something like that going on. And even then, it's a big if. But yeah, the mechanism is take down, allow for counter notification, and then the two parties go off and fight about it separately, and wait. And Facebook waits for a court order before they take it down again. And YouTube has the same policy, and Vimeo, all the video sharing sites have these policies in place because it protects them from being sued directly.
I've actually had one video removed, and I did appeal it, and it was put back up. It was a video of my dog, but the UFC was playing in the background. But the funny thing was, is it didn't ping it till almost a year after the event.
Yeah, and that was on Facebook or without YouTube?
That was Facebook.
Okay. Because YouTube has a lot of algorithms in place that are going out and finding things that match other things that have been posted on YouTube. So, if the original artist posts their video and then I post mine and they match up, sort of digital fingerprint style, YouTube will just take it down automatically. And that's another way they protect themselves from these things. But I wasn't aware that Facebook would, and I'm sure they probably do have some algorithms in place.
Sure.
Yeah. And somebody claiming that little piece in the background. I'll tell you that one of the sort of big landmark cases involving this stuff involved Universal Music taking down a video of this woman had posted a video of her kid running around the kitchen while Prince's Let's Go Crazy was playing. And the video was not about the song. It was about this kid, a 2-year-old going crazy. Right. And the kid was 12 or 13 years old by the time they actually resolved the lawsuit. Wow. She won. She argued to the courts that this was a fair use, that it was an incidental, non-infringing use of the song, and Universal had done wrong by getting that taken down. And I think in your wrestling background stuff, you might have had a similar argument to make. If
I wasn't even showing the TV in mine, so That's how I argued mine. I was like, it was incidental in the background, so yeah. It wouldn't happen no matter what was playing. I would have taken that video. So,
and copyright owners can get, they can be responsible for damages and costs and penalties and things like that if they take things down improperly, right, especially following that Universal suit. And so, but here it's not the copyright owners that are taking it, they're talking about taking it down. It's Facebook saying, hey, we're going to take it down proactively. Is this from the sound of this updated section that's going into effect? They're saying we're going to take it down if it might help us avoid legal stuff.
So I do have a couple comments coming in here, but I think they're from my group because I can't see who they are, but it says, you read my article, Nancy. Yes. And I think that's Steve from Cover Band Central, which was, I really wanted to, because that's kind of been the biggest people that have been talking about this is people who do perform covers and really what that means for them.
Yeah.
So can they never go on and do a cover again? Well, probably not, but I think you better be picky and choosy about who you're covering.
Well, right. I was going to say, I think that the letter of the law, the letter of the rule does say no more cover performances on YouTube, on Facebook, excuse me. YouTube's got all kinds of deals in place with music rights holders so that some songs can be posted as covers. Right. And I don't think Facebook has gone in that direction. And now with Facebook doing this paid events thing, I think that the music industry may be a little less inclined to play along that way. Without a cut of the pie. So it's an interesting time, isn't it? If you're a songwriter, you sort of understand the other side of this, right?
So I do have two questions along that line. So, my train of thought just totally went to. So they have the paid events. Oh, the rights manager. So if an artist gets on and they put their stuff into that rights manager, and I don't know how familiar you really are with that, but I signed up for it, got approved on this page, and I've actually gotten stuff back where it'll say, oh, this matched up, and it tells you the minute and the second in each video where it matched up.
Mhm.
One of them was completely, I don't even know why it dinged. It was in a whole different language. I was like listening to it and trying to Google Translate what they were saying to see if it even matched my video.
Was there a melodic parallel or something?
It was just an interview style thing. My video was just me, and the other video was 4 people in a group chat type thing.
Oh,
It was really bizarre.
yeah. So
And
that's
then,
a false positive, maybe.
right.
So I haven't really looked at what this music rights manager is, but from the sound of things, it's an opportunity for creators of content to go in and say, put this in the database so that if you find matching stuff, you notify me, or you automatically, I guess you could probably set options, just take it down, just mute
Right.
it, whatever. I think that's a great start.
Right.
But if they're hitting false positives like that, chances are it's happening more often than not. And
I mean, it's only happened to me once so far, and I've been signed up, I think, almost a year with it. So I'd say that's probably pretty good odds.
They're going to do a lot of false negatives, because there's going to be the ones where they're playing the same song, but on instrumentation in a different, different key or time signature. And it's, they're using your melody, but they're doing things differently. And that's what arrangements and adaptations often do. The algorithm's got to be pretty darn good to catch that kind of thing.
And then I'm wondering too if it's also getting dinged, because I think most people who play a cover live don't necessarily even sound like the original, and wouldn't maybe flag anything, but people who are using like pre-recorded backgrounds over that sound more identical to it are going to be hit harder.
Right. And so, the karaoke track kind of situation.
Correct.
And actually, that friend that I was talking about that does his front yard concerts, sometimes he has someone come and play keyboard. Sometimes he does karaoke tracks. So that very well could be the kind of situation that you get into. Although, there's something to be said for it doesn't sound anything like the original. Well, if you wrote the original, you may be cringing when you hear that performance of your work, and you might even not call it a performance, but you might call it a bastardization or a destruction of your work. So again, as the copyright owner, you want to have some control.
Right.
If it doesn't reflect well on your work, you may not want it out there at all. So.
True. That's true too. Okay. So section 4 is you may not be able to post or access videos containing music in every country of the world.
Yeah. This is also not new. Music rights are administered by different entities in different countries. Mainly here in the US, we're talking about the performance rights organizations, ASCAP and BMI, and there's 2 others, CSAC and GMR. Those 4 control it only as far as the territory of the United States goes. So as soon as someone in Germany is listening, the German Performing Rights Organization has to also have cleared the use and made the deal with Facebook or whatever. So if Facebook does have the right kind of clearance to allow you to post your kid's recital or whatever, it may not be listened. People in Germany may have to be blocked because they haven't made the same deal for that particular part of catalog. That's all. Yeah.
Definitely stuff to think about for sure. And then the other question I had here is this digital rights management, which I wasn't totally familiar with, but it's what I gathered from looking into it was that it's like encrypted into the HTML code of websites, and it also regulates the usage of copyrighted work.
Oftentimes, it's not actually part of the website. It's actually part of the recording of the music in question, or the video or the audio. I mean, you can put it into almost any kind of, basically, it's just a little snippet of code or a snippet of information that would be inaudible in a recording, but it's there and the machines can hear it or detect it. So the law says it's against the law to tamper with digital rights management material. It also violates that DMCA, and there are more severe, I don't want to call them punishments, but more severe consequences for tampering with it. So you shouldn't remove DRM information in whatever form it is. There was a case recently where a person using a photograph, and this may be where they're going with this, a photograph that had the photographer's name in the lower right corner as sort of as a watermark. And a publication decided they wanted to use the image. They contacted him. He said, no, you got to pay me a lot of money. And they said no. So they went ahead and got the image from the Instagram, and then they cropped it. So that you didn't see his name, and they put someone else's name in the caption on their news site. And he sued and won.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing where it should look, if somebody's putting, attribution of their stuff, even if they're saying go ahead and use it freely, you're not allowed to take that attribution material off of the thing, whatever it is.
Okay, that's definitely a lot to think about for sure.
Well, yes and no. I mean, bottom line, this is about stuff we learned in kindergarten. Well, what's the name of that book? Everything I Need to Know About Life I Learned in Kindergarten. Be nice. Don't take other people's stuff without their permission. That's what it really comes down to. For some reason, a lot of folks feel like they're entitled to do their thing because they want to. And, I have my YouTube channel up and where I talk about these kinds of issues a lot. And I keep getting these comments. Well, we need to fix copyright law. This is unfair. I'm not sure I agree. I know for a fact I don't agree. If I create something, it's mine. And if I don't want you to do something with it, hey, that's what it being mine means. Right. As soon as I say, okay, it's ours, then it's out of my hands. So.
Definitely. So, moral of the story here is these are not new. This has been this way.
Yeah. What I would say is, notwithstanding the rule about music listening experiences, I think this is something you want to do. And I think it is maybe feasible for an artist to create their own version, have a site where people can go and pay you an admission and so on. I think Facebook's just saying, hey, don't do it on our platform because we don't want the headaches. If you're willing to put up with the headaches, you could become a live stream concert promoter where you make deals with ASCAP and BMI and whoever else, and you share, give out some royalties and pay some money to the people who need to get paid, and then you have the right to do these things. I think it's doable. Not easy.
There are websites that allow this. The one I've been promoting recently is Veeps.com. I've watched a few on there. They charge you get to set your fee for your show, but like the ones I watched, they were $5. I mean, it was quick, easy cash.
And there's some split between you and the website, and then the website is splitting some of that with the rights holders, and everybody's getting paid and making some money and doing it right. Facebook my sense is Facebook doesn't want to be in the business of doing that. They don't want the headaches, frankly, because they're such a large platform. The royalties would be big, and managing it would mean a whole staff of people.
Right.
Facebook's got other things to worry about these days.
Definitely. For sure.
Yeah.
So could people also create even like a password protected type page on their website and do live shows there?
I mean, the technology certainly there. Legally speaking, I think you're still supposed to get and secure the rights properly. Putting it behind the password makes it harder for the owners to detect, but not impossible.
Not impossible, right?
They'll eventually what happens is someone twigs to the fact that you're doing this, pays the money, gets the password, and then comes in and says, aha, here it is. They go around, take a bunch of screenshots, make a few screen recordings, and now that's evidence in the lawsuit against you.
Right. So, yeah, I've been trying to brainstorm ways for these people to be able to do that. I mean, I have a cover band myself.
Yeah.
So if we can't be in a bar where the bar is paying the fees,
right.
It's kind of up in the air, like how you can do this unless you do use one of those sites and you're sure that they're paying their fair share, that you won't get dinged for it.
Right. Well, right. And then the other thing to be careful of is don't then embed the feed from that site into your Facebook page.
Right.
Those kinds of things. I think really the answer here, Nancy, is instead of looking for loopholes and workarounds, let's look for the way to make it a win-win for everybody involved so that the right folks that deserve to be compensated for their efforts do get compensated.
I 100% agree.
You know, it isn't easy and it isn't cheap, but nothing worth doing ever really is it?
Correct. Very much so.
You know, the truth is, if you were making, I'm going to show my age when I say, if you were making albums,
I still have albums.
If you were putting out a CD, well, if you were going into the studio to make recordings, you're spending some money to make that happen, so you have something to sell.
Right.
Here, you need to spend some money to make it possible. Just pop up on my screen, something changed. We good? All right.
I think we're okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so as I was saying, so, you know, this is a cost of doing business. And if you're in the creative performance business, you know, you got to pay to keep the lights on. You got to pay for the music rights. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so very, very, very much for coming on and walking us through all of that. I so appreciate that. I'm very grateful to have you do that for us so that we make sure we're doing everything right and not getting our pages taken down. And especially right now, because the pages are really what's helping people create their communities and reach their fans, since they can't be in a bar doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of live music. I love to, when I could, go out to bars and hear music performed live, and I think it's a wonderful art form. We just have to, you know, navigate the new path. So, thanks for giving me the opportunity, Nancy. It's been great to be here.
Thank you so much. All right, we will see you guys later. Bye.
Thanks.
Okay.
My cousin Dan was in the room.